Shedeur at number 1? I don't know, man. But it feels like the NFL is possibly pushing for this to happen. Now, I'm not saying there's conspiracies out there, but with all of the talk, the naysay and the anti-Shedeur narrative, it feels like the NFL is on a complete opposite sphere of this. And they kind of showed it earlier this week, and it's still up now. So let's dive into that. We're going to talk about a mock draft that came out from NFL Network, as well as a couple of posts that made your boys say, Let's dive into it here on the Prime Time for College Football. First and foremost, y'all have seen the videos. We've talked about it. Shedeur has been enduring attacks on his character. He's been enduring attacks on his personality and everything. Nothing football related, especially from the main articles coming out. Now, I have heard some folks say that they think that he's got a lot of stuff to work on. And heck, Shedeur has even said that. He said he's got things to work on. And in his interview, he even talked about how Tom Brady himself wasn't rated very high. He wasn't rated very high. And he's got things to work on. And there's things about him that people aren't going to like. But his focus is to be the best that he possibly can and get better every single day. And guess what? Sounds like that's starting to work out for some folks. Now, we know the Cleveland Browns really like Shedeur. And this came out not too long ago from Mary Kay Cabot about the Browns meeting with Shedeur. Now, the Browns have the second pick in the draft. And so we know that they're definitely looking at possibly getting a quarterback. But this is what Mary posted. Let me show you on your screen. The Browns first met with Shedeur one-on-one at the East-West Shrine Bowl in January and came away impressed. They didn't find him to be arrogant or brash. So everything everybody's saying, the Browns didn't feel like they saw it, but confident and engaging. They liked all the good things his Hall of Fame dad poured into him, but appreciate that he's his own man. He exhibited the excellent leadership qualities they're looking for in a quarterback. So sounds like the Cleveland Browns are very intrigued. And even the Titans general manager even talked about how he said that Cam Ward as well as Shedeur Sanders have done everything they're supposed to do to get to where they are hype-wise, attention-wise, and everything. And so when you see that, you're like, okay, why is the narrative out there to attack Shedeur? It feels like it's all, purposeful by the industry to, in some ways, maybe tank his draft stock. Maybe a particular team would like to get their hands on him, but they know they can't trade up for him. So they want to, throw some hate out there to see if it helps drop him. Or some people are just haters. Could be one of the two. But it was intriguing, though, because the NFL has made some changes. And Shedeur Sanders appeared to be benefiting from those. First off, mock draft came out. Charles Davis from NFL Network dropped his mock draft 1.0. Here's his top 5 picks. He's got 3 quarterbacks going in the first 3 picks. Number 1, Shedeur Sanders to the Tennessee Titans. Number 2, Cam Ward to the Browns. And then number 3, Jackson Dart to the New York Giants. Interesting, right? And now you may be saying, Jay, it's ridiculous. You think the NFL is plotting to get him first because of this mock draft? No, not really. But then the subsequent things that populated made me ask the question, is the NFL involved in this? And I say that because they changed their header on their X account to Shedeur and Jimmy Horn on NFL Network. Okay, yeah, cool stuff. Not too bad, right? But that ain't it. They even changed the header of the NFL's to Shedeur laying down with his Pops shoes on. If that's not love for the Sanders family, I don't know what is. They changed everything around Shedeur Sanders right now. Now, I'm wondering if they're trying to tell us something. This is a hint. This is a code. Whatevs. But Shedeur being the header of both of their accounts really got your boys' attention. It feels like they're trying to help with the narrative that's flying around about him and what people think about him. And him looking like a top prospect, teams do believe that teams that need a quarterback will probably go after him. So the question is, why would they take Shedeur? And it's funny because Peter Schrager from Fox Sports. He does Good Morning Football as well. He wrote this about Shedeur that made me say, okay, interesting. And this is what a conversation with the NFL front office member. He said, I think that one thing that's not being discussed enough is Sanders' toughness. Very few other QBs in college could have survived getting pressured and hit as much as he did, but he always got up and always made the big play. To me, that tells me that's one reason why you could see him going number 1 in the draft and why teams are really looking at Shedeur as a top prospect. Now, like I said, not everybody's going to see that. I see there's this one dude on X. I guess he's a former scout or something for the Jets. And all he's doing is tearing them down. And, of course, Bucky had to say some stuff to him or whatnot. But it sounds like there's certain people wanting to tear him down. Others want to build him up, just like you get in every draft. So this isn't just a Shedeur thing. This is a NFL draft thing. Teams will do this constantly. But I can totally see Shedeur ending up at number 2. I don't see him going number 1 because I see the Titans trading out of that pick, which will probably lead to Cam Ward getting drafted number 1, which is not a bad thing for Shedeur. If Shedeur finishes top 5, it's going to be huge. But if there's a team I think is going to take him, I think he ends up with the Cleveland Browns. He's visiting them this week. He's part of the tour of players, doing visits. He's going to see the Browns. He's going to see the Titans. So, all the top teams are going to see him. And honestly, I think that the teams that, the ones that they felt like the interview process wasn't all that great. Nobody said disrespectful. Nobody said it was bad. It just didn't feel like Shedeur was that engaged. It probably was teams that were so low in the draft that they felt like, well, we really don't have a chance with them, so we're going to interview them anyway. And they may gave off that same energy. I don't know. But I can tell you this. There's a lot of people, important people that matter, really love Shedeur. So I think that he ends up getting himself drafted within the first 5 picks. That's just my take. I really think that number 2 to the Cleveland Browns is probably where he's going to end up. Definitely want to hear from you all. Hop in those comments. Y'all think that Shedeur is going to be first round? Y'all think he's going to be, late? You think he's going to be a top 5 pick? Definitely want to hear from what you all think. All right, we appreciate y'all pulling up. Check out, one of the last videos that I dropped, talking about, Shedeur and the draft stuff, especially what Chris Carter had to say. It was kind of interesting. That one really blew up on the channel. I love what Chris Carter had to say about Shedeur because I think that's one of those things that, because it's not talked about a lot, people forget. And it's definitely something that's going to make him probably jump up because I think a lot of teams like the idea of somebody having the character that Shedeur has. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification, join the family. And we'll chop it up soon.